Mistaken beliefs are beliefs your prospect may hold that they use as reasons for not being able to achieve success in your niche. So, for example, you might want to think of it in this sentence structure. You may think blank to succeed, but this isn't true. So you may think you must exercise for hours a day to succeed, but this isn't true. Or you may think you have to start with a lot of money in the bank in order to run a small business to succeed, but this isn't true. That's how the mistaken belief structure works. You want to think of what your prospect is thinking of that they falsely believe is a necessary thing for them to succeed, and then you're going to debunk it inside this niche entry. This is where you want to lay out some common misconceptions about how to solve the problem, or myths about the problem that you want to debunk in order to reveal the actual cause of the problem. This will position you as an authority on the subject, as well as help your message stand out in your prospect's mind. So think of these mistaken beliefs as all the misinformation or bad ideas or fad strategies or tactics that you completely disagree with. You're going to explain why they're false by giving them the reality behind it. Some copywriters refer to this as taking a contrarian position. In fact, the more shocking the false cause is, the more attentive your prospect is going to be. For example, if your position is counting grams of fat can cause weight gain, your prospect is more likely to pay attention because this is exactly the opposite of what they currently believe. You're going to define future tense and present tense mistaken beliefs, and these are slightly different in Email CopyPro as far as structure. Okay, let's define the first one here. As you can see, we're looking for pronouns, what's called a modal verb, which is simply are not, can, cannot, etc., and a verb. And this is going to be the pronouns you, your, we, our. So you're going to select from these drop downs and create a sentence that sounds a lot like this. For example, you do not have the right trading system, or you do not have the right workout plan, whatever the case may be. Now, I'm going to give some examples using, again, my niche of weight loss. I'm going to start with you have to. My verb is going to be cut. And I'm going to say calories and fat to extremely low levels. Now, that would be a common misconception, at least in my worldview, for customers wanting to go on a diet. You have to cut your calories and fat to an extremely low level. I'm going to add your calories and fat to extremely low levels. You can do that. So I'm going to choose but believe it or not. And my truth is this. This just leads to frustration and can actually cause your body to store more fat, especially if you cut your calories too low for more than 72 hours. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm laying a little groundwork for my product's USP, or unique selling proposition. So I'm hinting at it right here, but I'm not telling them what it is yet. Now, there's one more thing we got to do. I refer to this mistaken belief as, and this is where it's going to take a little creativity on your part. I want you to come up with a 1 or 2 word description, and you can use a little more than that, but don't get too wordy here. And use a title case so that you're making it look like it's a branded term. And it's a description for the mistake that you just described. So what would I call cutting your calories too low? So I'm going to call it the low calorie myth. Now, low calorie myth is fine and it will work great, but what if I wanted something that would make my email stand out and look completely unique? Because low calorie myth, maybe people have heard that before. So if I just change this to low calorie sabotage, all of a sudden it has a specific ring to it. And now your emails will come out saying, are you falling victim to low calorie sabotage? And they're not going to know what that is, but the word sabotage is so unique, it stands out. So I really like that one. I'm going to save it. Now, we ask you to create 3 of these. And the reason why is because we're going to use these in content emails. We're going to use these in nurture emails. We're going to use these in promotion emails. So we'll keep going. Click Add Entry. And for this one, I'm going to say you. I'm going to say can. And I'm going to say never eat. That's perfectly fine. I put a descriptor above the verb, which is fine, as long as this verb is not anything other than it must not end in ing or ed, so never eat. Eat is fine. And then my copy is going to say your favorite foods, especially desserts, or maybe just eat them once a week at the most. So that's a very common mistaken belief, that someone can never eat desserts, especially, maybe once a week at the most. I'll say, however, the truth is, on second thought, I'm going to use but believe it or not, because this is pretty shocking. So believe it or not, and I'll scroll over here and show you what I wrote here. My plan calls for enjoying your favorite foods just about any day you like, and especially every 4th day. Again, what am I doing? I'm teasing my solution. That way you're never 72 hours or so away from anything you want to eat. Notice I'm not ending anything in punctuation. Let Email CopyPro do the punctuation for you. You can put punctuation inside this, but not at the very end. And once again, I'm going to label this. And I'm going to say, and I refer to this mistaken belief as the forbidden foods myth. Now that sounds pretty cool. The forbidden foods plays a little of the Garden of Eden thing there, so I'm going to keep that. Now that's 4 words. That's fine. I just want to keep it short. So we're going to add one more. I'm going to get a little creative on this one. You have to, and I'm going to use a verb that may not be in here, slave. Slave away. Doing hours of cardio a day. Oh, that's a common misconception when it comes to weight loss, right? And I'll say, however, the truth is 20 minutes of targeted exercise just 3 days a week is all you need to burn all the fat you desire. So that's a great promise. Do you see what we're doing here? We're saying, here's the misconception. You have to do this, or you're stuck doing this, or whatever, and it's something negative. However, the truth is something very positive. And since this sounds a little bit technical, I'm going to pull in experts. Experts refer to this mistaken belief as the fat storing zone. So I know that if you exercise too long, your body will produce more cortisol and you'll end up storing more fat. So I'm calling it the fat storing zone as a clever way of saying that. I'm going to save this. I'm going to add the present tense mistaken beliefs. Now, you could duplicate everything you just did, but you'll notice that the structure is slightly different because we use these in different ways. There's less fields that you can enter, but you can use the same basic ideas. I'm going to create something sort of fresh for each one of these to show you how I'm going to do it. I'm going to use the verb living with a diet composed of salads and dry, tasteless proteins. So that's a very common mistaken belief. Yet in reality, this, and I'm going to put a lot of information here to show you that you can. This never works for more than a few weeks at best. You need a diet with foods you look forward to eating every day. And believe it or not, that's exactly what I will be sharing with you. So I actually give them a promise in this thing. That's how long and wordy you can get in this if you want to. And this is a misconception. It's something I call the rabbit food lie. It's fun. I'm going to add one that's a take of the one I added up above. I'm going to call it exercising like a crazy person 5 to 6 days a week. However, the truth is, and I'm going to use the same copy I used above, 20 minutes of targeted exercise, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm going to call this the same thing that I called the one above. So this myth is often referred to as, save. I'm going to say suffering on a diet plan that makes you feel like a social leper, eating only foods that a rabbit would enjoy. I'm getting a little bit creative on these, but I do that for a living. You can say something, suffering on a boring diet plan. You don't have to be this flamboyant with your words. That's fine. I'm going to change this to, but believe it or not, your friends and your family, and this is true, will not even notice you're on a diet, even when you're eating out at your favorite restaurants. Now, I'm going to call, this myth is often referred to as, again, the myth is talking about suffering on a diet plan, the starvation myth. Keep it really simple. And there we go. We've got our entries in both present tense and future tense, and now you're ready to go.